Meeting to order. Tonight, the pledge will be led by Board Member Amy Sharp.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, proposed 1920 budget.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Sandvig going over and presenting this in a way that we can kind of understand this a little bit better. Just want to keep in mind that this is a fluid document. It could decrease or increase depending on enrollment and certain things in our schools and obviously funding. So let's start off with Rockville High School. We've added a partial year course for our principal for this fiscal year, but that will be estimated cost of $75,055 going forward for the next fiscal year. We have added 2 assistant principals this year, partial year for 18-19, but they will be adding 2 more for a grand total of 4 at $84,733 a assistant principal for a grand total of $338,934. New classroom teachers added to Rockville. That's 18. They're built into the budget. Estimated cost of $63,322 for a grand total of $1,139,802. 2 RTI interventionists. Now, the RTI interventionist works for those students that are below the 10% below the grade level or in that area. It's primarily in English language arts and math. We build 2 into these the budget, which every high school has 2. Estimated costs per unit is $80,054 for a grand total of $160,108. New special ed teachers, 5, for an estimated cost of per unit at $63,322 for a grand total of $316,612. Career and technical education teachers that will be going to Rockville. There's 16 built into the budget at an estimated cost of $63,322 for an estimated additional total for the fiscal year of 2019-20, $1,013,157. Guidance counselors, there's 2 parcels already built within. For the 18-19, there will be an additional one which will bring the grand total to 3 at an estimated cost per unit at $59,971 for a grand total of $179,914. Our graduation coach for Rockville High School. There will be 1 graduation coach for an estimated cost per unit of $83,508 for a grand total of estimated at $83,508. Librarians, 2 librarians, estimated cost at $83,508 for a grand total of $167,016. School technology coach, formerly known as STS. We have 1 at Rockville High School that will be estimated cost of $80,054 for an estimated additional total to our budget of $80,054. JROTC net cost, $56,420 estimated cost, additional totals of $56,420. Supplements for our for the coaches that we be working with the athletic teams is based on a BS, a bachelor's degree plus 5 years of experience. Estimated cost per unit, $172,665 for a grand total of $172,665. Certified additional costs for full year. These count comes to the 55 additional certified staff members for the fiscal year 2019-2020. This brings the cost for these certified staff members for the full year at $3,643,000. $783,245.
Just one thing for y'all to remember, these are averages. Typically, I think there have only been 1 or 2 years during the economic downturn, we had a lot of teachers coming down from up north, and that raised our average starting pay. And that year, but I look at the averages when preparing something like this. Now, I will look at the specific principal, the specific APs we have in place, but then I'll look at the averages. So higher degrees, higher experience, sometimes additional days, but pretty accurate in total, average benefits and all that.
That was the conversation we had today in terms of how we determine these costs. And some of it we can because we do know who transferred in and things like that and what their degree is in.
Mr. Spurlock, if I may, since I'm new, the supplement's based on the bachelor's. Is that one person?
No. It's all of them, all the coaches that will be, that we feel. He puts it as one unit to show that this is the block of money that would be allocated to that school for that.
Okay. So we don't know yet how many that's going to be divided?
Well, typically, we do have it, and that's something we'll provide. It will provide you. We'll get it to you. If you will have that for, you have your head coaches in those sports that we supplement, and then you have, I think it's maybe 6 assistants in football. Depending on the sport.
Okay.
But we'll get you that.
Okay, yeah, just for clarification, because it had one person, I was like,
Right.
Somebody's going to go, one coach is making that much money, so.
Right.
Director, I have, if I may, if Ms. Sharp is finished, I've got a question. This is the 2019, and Jeff, you may, Mr. Sandvig, you may want to answer this, 2019-2020 general purpose school budget. But looking at like the first 2 line items, the principal and the assistant principal, it talks about partial.
What we do, what we're trying to focus on as we go forward to the commission is, this is pretty close, I'm sure it was, to our total increase that we are asking for. We funded partial years for some of these positions in 2018-19. This is the differential.
Okay, so is that going to, because that was my question, because it says partial in 2018-19, but this is the 2019-2020 budget. So does that cover what we're going to have additional exposure for in that year?
Including what they were paid this year, carried forward.
Right.
And then this
Full
is
year.
the increase to pay them for the full year.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I've done it both ways before.
It kind of lets them
kinda threw me
understand
off.
how much it's going to impact them fiscally going forward.
And one of the things for y'all to remember in your discussions with commissioners and all that, in the BEP formula, there are principals, APs, guidance, some of the clerical positions, librarians, if I didn't mention them. There is some funding generated at by the number of schools you have. When you open a school, you get nothing for those positions. It is entirely local funding. That year.
Wow.
Waits for the following calendar year.
It waits till the following calendar year.
So once again, that wonderful 20-year-old BEP formula.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But with opening 2 schools, it's a larger number.
It is. Okay, any other questions over the Rockville High School certified areas?
On the supplements from Ms. Sharp, this is the one thing that we can be pretty close on.
Oh, yes.
Salary-wise, because it's all a BS in 5 years. So there's no degrees or anything added to it. So that 172,000 is pretty darn close, unless they add another coach or something.
They can't. Yeah. Sometimes they might not offer sport initially or something.
That's true. Okay.
Okay. All right. EAs, 5.8. Estimated cost per unit, $46,194 for an estimated additional total of $267,923. Now, obviously, we don't have a 5.8, but it's the way it's funded because this is special ed.
And your ISSEA.
And your ISSEA, okay, which they would not be on would they be on the same type of?
Pretty much the same. The way I have, when we're talking classified 9 and 10 month staff, EAs, We have some 10-month custodians, office staff. I figure a full-time equivalent for an EA, say, take 1,330 hours, which is what they're budgeted to work in a year, divide it by 2,080. Trying to get the best apples. It's not perfect, but I haven't come up with any other way to be, yeah.
You're not inflating it.
No, I'm not inflating it.
That's the key.
No.
If anything,
Right.
we're probably right on.
Right. If you divide that 5.8 by 64 hundredths, that's pretty close to how many EAs, how many people it will be.
Okay, so I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it again just to be on the safe side. These numbers include the benefit overload as well? Okay.
All right, office staff, 5.4 count. Estimated cost per unit, 53,444. Estimated additional totals of 288,596. Custodians, 8.6. And you might want to tell us how custodians are.
Yeah, we look at size of the building, the enrollment, number of portables, and our this is because we have, and I can put it, we have some partial custodians in this year's budget, assuming we get the building released to us in time. Well, they'll do some training in other schools. So this is the addition. I think we'll have 10, a lead, and 9 12-month custodians at the high school.
All right, it's 8.6, estimated cost per unit, $45,996. Estimated additional totals of $395,566. Athletic trainer, 1 unit, $62,171. Estimated cost per unit. Estimated additional totals of $62,171. 1 nurse, estimated cost per unit, $69,798. The estimated additional totals of $69,798. Computer technician, 1 unit, estimated cost per unit, $70,164. Estimated additional totals of $70,164. Any question on the classified? Additional questions? Okay, that brings us a staff, a full-time equivalency of 22.8. Total was 1,154,219. Next item is the utilities. Estimated cost per unit at $537,000. Estimated additional totals at $537,000. Rockville additional cost with all the personnel at 78.8. Estimated additional totals would be $5,474,465.
My estimate was between $5 and $6 million.
Yeah, I think that's right. I remember last year budgeting that in.
How much did we set aside now for that over the last 2 years? 5 million? Okay, for the first year only.
If we could stretch, if there is any way to do like 3.5 million this year and save the other piece for next year, if there is any way, that's something for y'all to keep in mind. Because we won't get that, those office positions and school-wide positions won't generate that much money in the BEP.
Any questions on Rockville?
Just to follow through, maybe just a little bit. It's this $5.5 million. Is that going to be the approximate cost? I realize there'll be raised, whatever. It'll go up some, but is that going to be the approximate cost of keeping Rockville open every year?
Not entirely, because we are transferring a bunch of positions in.
All right.
So the total cost will be higher. I'm sorry. We have, when we opened, I may have this backwards. When we opened Siegel, I think we added 47 or 48 certified positions, new positions, transferred the rest. When we opened Stewart's Creek High, I think it was 38. The economy was not doing too well then. It was recovering, but we had to really watch positions more tightly then. So, but in addition to those, then you've got the positions to transfer in.
But all in all, the teachers that are moving to Rockville are going to be removed from another area of our of our budget. This is addition to what we're already budgeting out.
Yeah, I can give you some ideas. I can give you a range on that in the next.
I would just, I don't know if curious is the right thing or not. I get questions, I'm sure everybody else does too. Well, what does this school actually cost? What's it going to, not this school, any school. What's the next school going to cost? Well, we got land and we got the buildings and et cetera, and so it's going to cost 60 million or 70 million, whatever it is. But I also get the question, well, what's it going to cost to keep it open for the first year? And I'm wondering what that cost actually is.
Get that for you at the next meeting?
Close to. I mean, I know it's different. Every school's got to be different. And
that's the thing about the first year. We don't get the funding until after the fact. So building in this part of it.
Which is why we voted to set aside $5 million. It was to help us with that. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sandy.
You're welcome.
Okay. Rocky Fork Elementary. Once again, we added a partial year for the principal on the 2018-19 fiscal year, but this cost for a full year would be estimated at $77,771 for estimated additional total of $77,771. Assistant principals, one at an estimated cost of $96,000. Am I reading that incorrect? Principals, okay, I got it. Okay, principals, so they primarily, you're budgeting in 1.5, something like that?
No, sir, that's the additional.
Then what they're already, with benefits?
Right, 220 days, the average degree experience and benefits.
Okay, help me out then with the principal part then.
It's partially funded this year.
Gotcha. So we're not showing that over to.
This is the incremental cost.
Gotcha. All right, and $96,836, estimated additional totals at $96,836. New classroom teachers, 7, estimated cost per unit, $63,322 for an additional, estimated additional cost, a total of $443,256. RTI interventionists, 1 unit, estimated cost at $80,054. Estimated additional cost at $80,054. Guidance counselors, 1.5. Estimated cost per unit, $80,054. Estimated additional totals of $120,081. Librarians, 1 unit, $83,508. Estimated cost per unit. Estimated additional totals of $83,508. School technology coach, 0.5. Estimated cost per unit, $80,054. Estimated additional totals of $40,027. Certified staff, additional cost for the full year, there's 13 for an estimated additional total of $941,534. Any question on the certified staff at Rocky Fork Elementary? All right. Educational assistants, 3.8. Estimated cost per unit, $46,043. Estimated additional totals of $174,965. Library aid, 0.6 unit. Estimated cost per unit, $49,750. Estimated additional totals of $29,850. Office staff added this year, partial year, 2018-29 fiscal year, 1.8. Estimated cost per unit, $54,633. Estimated additional totals of $98,339. Custodians added partial year, 2018-19, 3.7. Estimated cost per unit, 46,969. Estimated additional totals of 173,784. Nurse, 1 unit. Estimated cost per unit, 69,798. Estimated additional cost of 69,798. Classified staff, full-time equivalent. Additional cost for 1 full year, we have 10.9 additional count for an estimated additional total of $546,736. Utilities, estimated cost of $188,000, estimated additional totals of $188,000. The Rocky Fork Elementary additional cost of personnel, 24.9, additional totals of $1,676,270. Any questions on those? Okay, next we get into everything else. All right. Okay, fixed costs that are mandated changes. Certified degree and experience raises, sometimes known as step raises. This count of 1, estimated cost per unit, $3,173,300. Estimated additional totals of $3,173,300. State raise for teachers. The count is 1. Estimated cost per unit is $4,995,679. Estimated additional totals is $4,995,679. This is based on a 2.5% proposed raise. Now, would you mind explaining to the new board members how a 2.5% raise across the board is different
Yes.
than a 2.5% state raise?
This has gotten a lot of attention at the state level and everything else. The state has done these raises and run them through the BEP plan in the BEP allocation a couple of ways over the years. Typically what they do, there is a cost factor, a BEP cost factor per teacher. And typically they will add, say, this 2.5% to that factor. So when you look at the positions we have above the BEP, and I doubt there's a system in Tennessee that does not have positions above what is generated by the BEP, and our average degree and experience, we are somewhat higher. Our pay is somewhat higher, and it does nothing for the additional days that we have, anything toward BS and 5 supplements, nothing like that. So it comes out to frightfully close. When you look at the benefits cost, we get half of our funding from the state on any raise, basically, when you include benefits. If you exclude benefits, we get a little bit higher. But so basically half of any raise, we have to look at funding out of our local funds, that increase in local funds. But we have historically, y'all have, it has not been proposed to you, and y'all have not proposed changing it. Even in the tightest of years, whatever state raise there was for teachers, we have funneled those monies to our teachers. We could have used them for benefits. We have not. We have not always been able to match the state raise, but we have always used those funds for teacher raises. And since, were you on board, Terry? It may be further back than that. When the board made the decision, whatever the teacher raise is through the BEP, we will pass that on to the classified staff. A larger quantity of that pay has to come out of the local.
Follow up on what Mr. Sandvig said. I was in a meeting earlier this year with the state comptroller's office, and in some of our more rural areas actually took this money and used it in other areas because they needed to. And that was a point of contention on his part. And it says a lot for our Board of Education here in Rutherford County that not only are we, giving these raises and these full 2.5% raises, that we are funding positions that are above and beyond what BEP. And quite frankly, BEP, Basic Educational Program, I would say below basic educational program, because the funding is not commensurate to what we need in order to provide a more than adequate education of our students. And it's quite frankly, you need to look at that sometime, the ratio that we get funded, so it says a lot for the board. All right, and once again, I think Mr. Sandvig already touched upon this. Typically, our board is always provided the step raises for a classified. We do have one unit here of $441,975 for estimated total additional cost of $441,975, and at the same time, a matching 2.5%, same as the teachers, which would estimated cost per unit of $1,163,608 for an estimated additional total of $1,163,608. Last on that part, on the fixed cost, is the district health insurance contribution. Count of one, estimated cost per unit, $669,887. Estimated additional totals of $669,887. Questions over the fixed and mandated changes?
Let me ask a question, Mr. Sanders. The state raised the teachers proposed, I guess, into their budget. For Rutherford County teachers, will be $5 million, right at $5 million.
The state funds, no, sir. The state funds coming from the BEP, 60% of that number maybe, so more $3 million, I'd say. Because we have that local match in the BEP that we have to provide. And we do not have the April estimate, and sometimes with the new administration, we don't get an April estimate. So,
I'm sorry. It looks like we're showing state money on here.
no, we are showing, if we do that 2.5% across the board, it will be a total cost to us of $5 million. And I'm thinking we will get more, maybe $3 million from the state, but we don't know at this point. $2 million of it will be local funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just an addition, this is an increase on our next fiscal year budget.
I would say, Mr. Sproul, I don't know this for certain, but I would think that teachers, and we've got former teachers in this room, we might read that the state is raising such and such, and we think, well, thank goodness for the state, because Rutherford County doesn't do anything.
But we do.
And, we match.
Absolutely.
And,
Yes.
and you pointed out about Mr. Hodge there and his constant support for classified as well, which I think is, I think that's just terrific, that we do that, but, okay, I think I understand it now.
And to add on to that, that's strictly out of local,
Out of local. And
classified.
And historically, in those years in the economic downturn, y'all tried to have some raise, even when we didn't have the state funds, some raise. I mean, I think there was one year where it was basically to try to cover the insurance increase in dollars, but y'all also have that history, which we have done totally from local dollars in those years.
And I hope somebody out there is probably listening, and Mrs. Pearl, I just mentioned just a minute ago, and we kind of went on, and that's fine. But we also funding a lot of things that the state won't pay us a dime for. Absolutely. Far above what is required. And I say that maybe a lot of people don't know that either.
Well, and some of these things we're funding above and beyond. Nurses in our schools.
Right.
That is one of the areas where the BEP is woeful.
1 to 3,000, I think.
Yeah.
1 to 3,000 now. There has been a bill introduced.
Yeah.
Have you seen any action on
I
it?
haven't seen anything on it,
I
but
haven't either.
they are going to lower that ratio.
Yeah. Well, the RTI, last year an RTI position was added in the BEP formula. It generated 16 positions for us, I believe. We had closer to 100 teachers supporting that program, doing it the way we have thought it needed to be done.
Well, the number with the nurses and the BEP formula made absolutely no sense whatsoever that would work. Well, it just didn't work unless you had a school that had that exact number of people in it, which we didn't, of course. So we had to swap nurses, send them to their various places. I mean, that's right.
All right, next is our new certified personnel projections. Regular ed teachers, the count is 54.5. Estimated cost per unit, $63,322. And of course, he does the median income by looking at an average of what we are currently have. This is an estimated additional total of $3,451,068. Regular ed teachers in music, educational in music and art, 4. Estimated cost per unit, $63,322. Estimated additional totals of $253,289. These are elementary. Am I correct in that, Mr. Sago? The 4 additional music and art? That's right. And the ESL, once again, the ESL teachers, we've got a count of 14. That's estimated cost per unit at $75,467. Estimated additional totals of $1,056,543. Special education teachers, 8.5. Estimated cost per unit at $63,322. Estimated additional totals of $538,240. Special education teachers in speech and language, 2 units. Estimated cost at $72,329. Estimated additional totals of $144,659. Assistant principal at Laverne Middle, 1 unit. Estimated cost per unit at $96,836. Estimated total at $96,836. On that position right there, the first year, maybe a little bit, not much after a year or so, we're being funded for a grant. As we go forward, we would pick that cost up. When you project Laverne Middle School's enrollment currently and what it would look like in another year, they would qualify for another AP. They would need another AP. So that cost there originally is funded through a grant that we'll be receiving because they were an at-risk school, or assistant targeted school actually, not at-risk, assisted targeted school. All right, next are the assistant principals leadership development. 2 units, estimated cost at $89,269. Estimated additional totals of $178,539. Social workers, count of 2, estimated cost per unit at $72,329. Estimated additional totals at $144,659. Behavioral specialists, 3, estimated cost per unit at $85,963. Estimated additional totals of $257,890. School psychologists, count of 2, estimated cost per unit, $81,561. Estimated additional totals of $163,122. I might add, I think it's next week, Ms. Kozabowski, she's going to be presenting a PowerPoint, a short PowerPoint looking at some of the things that are precipitating us adding these behavior specialists and social workers in our schools. I think I think you can see some data on this thing for this. It's just for this year, current year. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. One of the conference that was provided in Philadelphia was over this, and so it's not that this is unique to Tennessee. It's nationwide. But moving on, math specialists. Let me first start by currently we have a math specialist that serves grades K through 5. And we have a math specialist currently that serves grades 6 through 12. Okay, as we look at the number of math courses that we have in high school, when we look at the teachers that we're bringing in, math teachers today, how many do we currently have that we can, Dr. Anthony, how many math teachers have been hired right out of the university so far in our job fair? Do you know by any chance? Right. So, which means that in this area, which we get assessed on, it's imperative that we provide professional growth opportunities for them. And in order for us to do this in a more equitable way, it would require us adding another position in the area of math. As we go forward, it would be our hope that we could identify 9 through 12 math specialists, and then allow the middle school math specialists to work only with 6 through 8. But the math specialist position, estimated cost per unit at $114,211, estimated additional cost of $114,211. The math specialists, correct me on this on their contract. What is a 240-day contract? It's a 12-month contract. That's the cost, because not only are they working during the year, but they're also providing PD during the summer months. ELA 9 through 12 specialists. Once again, we currently have a ELA specialist that works 6 through 12. We're requesting to add an additional to break this up to a 9-12 specialist. Estimated cost per unit of $14,211. Estimated additional totals of $114,211. School technology coach, STS, half position. Estimated cost of $80,054 per unit. Estimated additional total of $40,027. Any questions on those so far?
Mr. Spurlock, this was a few years back, and after we get the BEP, I could do it again after we have a good BEP number. But I went through one year and looked at the BEP formula and the number of administrative and the types of administrative positions at the central office, the school-wide level that were generated. We have, and I'm confident that number has, we may have added 1 or 2 since then, but we have been well below. We have held back on those administrative positions. We are no longer we are the 4th largest system in the state now.
And quite frankly, it's been a perfect storm, quite frankly. Not only have we grown, but also the teacher pool has become, Mr. Sandvig and I talked about it today when we were looking at retirement and stuff. Not that I was looking at retirement, Mr. Sandvig was looking at it. But anyway, the number of teachers that we currently have, on our pay schedule, if you'll look at our pay schedule, we have grandfathered those that have been since 2014. There'll come a time when this will end, and you, Dr. Anthony, you can speak on this about how we're probably becoming, our experience is becoming smaller as far as an average for teachers that we're hiring. And once again, these positions right here help us in order to grow those teachers as we provide the support that they need. One of our goals that we have on our district plan is to recruit, to grow and retain. And I think we've done a pretty decent job of that. If I'm not mistaken, it was a pretty high retention rate that we have with our teachers. And I think this is part of the commitment that we've made to them to grow them professionally. The principals' additional days, 10 days for principals, going from a 240-day contract to a 230-day contract. This would be one unit at $373,345 estimated. Estimated additional totals of $373,345. Principals already work the 240 days. It's become a year-round, and it should be. And we're requiring a lot more out of them. And I think as we attract, as principals leave us, and we want to attract the best, if you look at our districts around us, we're kind of an anomaly. We have our principals on 230-day contracts, where everyone else has them on a 240-day contract. Okay, any questions on those?
So they're on 240 now?
No, sir, they're on 230.
Yeah, we moved them to 230 from 220.
Back,
10,
15 years 10 years ago, maybe. Mm-hmm.
250 is, I mean, you take off weekends and 10 holidays, you're down around 250. This is a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. And it really is. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Not in this year's budget, but some of the administrative clerical positions
It's the same thing.
are essentially, we're headed the same way with them too.
Right.
We're
Absolutely.
We have to, yeah.
Mr. Sandvik, you got down here 54 and a half new teachers?
Yes, sir.
Does that include what's it going to Rockville now?
No, sir.
That's another in Rockville, it's another 25.
100 and a half.
So that's, we're looking at 75 new teachers, correct? 54 and 25.
Well, we've got Rockville and Rocky Fork.
Yeah.
In total new,
25 total, according to your.
and the other certified positions were at 100 and a half.
Not just just the certified position.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask you, and I hadn't got last year's, but in 17, 18, we added 103 new teachers. That was because of the growth.
Growth and some new programs and, yeah. I think
I think it's trended that way the last 3 years, if I looked at it correctly.
So you think that'll be enough?
We think it will. It's tight. This is going to be a tight budget. We knew that starting out with opening 2 schools.
Okay. If you're happy, I am.
Okay. Classified personnel. Clerical staff at elementary schools reallocated due to growth. 1.4 count, estimated cost per unit at $40,423. Estimated additional totals of $56,592. ESL educational assistants count at 2.3. Estimated cost per unit at $39,947. Estimated additional totals of $91,878. Special education assistants count at 3.8. Estimated cost at $46,041. Estimated additional totals of $174,956. CTE central office clerk going from half-time to full-time at the central office. 0.5 count. Estimated cost per unit, $64,845. Estimated additional total of $32,423. Ms. Pilgrim, will you speak on what all this assistant does? Oh, okay.
No.
Not a whole lot.
Okay. She does, she helps to oversee and manage the CTE administrative assistants that are in the building, at the building levels for our large high schools. And so a lot of them have, like Riverdale and Central or Siegel and Holloway. So they're doubling up on some of that. And so she is helping to manage the CTE administrative assistants. And then all of our purchasing requisitions, all of the things that we do with accounting, inventory, our federal reports that we have to do, and she helps to oversee all of that, and then get things ready for the next school year as we're closing the previous school year, and all of the e-Tiger reports, and just there's a lot of reporting that we have to do that other areas do not necessarily have to do just because of the federal requirements, and so she is helping us with that and overseeing that. And like you said, we just keep getting bigger and bigger, and so we definitely need her on a full-time basis. So, thank you.
Okay. Accounting, additional payroll position, 1. Estimated cost per unit, $61,103. Estimated additional total of $61,103. Human resource, net new clerk for leaves and 128 contract for retiring clerk. Point 4, estimated cost per unit, $62,803. Estimated additional total of $25,121. You want to speak on that briefly? Or Dr. Anthony?
Okay, with our extended leaves and family medical leaves, we have doubled even in this past year. I know last year we gave an estimate of it. We did a presentation back last February. We were having about 100 each semester. We hit 250 in the fall, 250 in the spring. So the management of the family medical leave, the extended leaves, the personnel actions for payroll connections that we work together with Mr. Sandvig's department. So we're asking for 0.4 of a position at $25,000 to help us continue to be able to maintain that progress.
And the flow of that is crucial. If we do not know when they're coming back, if that change, and I know Mrs. Ladd dealt with one in the last 6 weeks who, I came back 3 weeks early or something like that. It didn't get communicated to us. Often it's the other way. I didn't come back. and no, it is a complex flow, and the information doesn't always flow from the schools to us. I think that's what happened in that case.
That's exactly what happened. It was at the school and didn't flow back, that there was a change in the date because of the software. So Mr. Sandvig's been helping us to kind of streamline to see if we can get some software to help us with that process for the schools to get it to us, because we're always having to follow up to see if additional dates have changed. So kind of, being that liaison to the 50 schools with 49.
Got a question. On the clerks, why would the CTE clerk cost us a little over $2,000 more than a human resource clerk? What's the difference?
Oh, well, that is because I know who that person is. She is currently split between Eagleville and the central office, and if we made that change, her level would also go up one level. So it's because of her years of experience with the system, basically. I'm looking at an average on the HR position, but yeah.
But starting out, the two positions start out the same pay. If starting out.
Yes. Yeah, they would.
The years of experience
Depending
are
on
equivalent, right.
the experience, that would change a bit. I tend, now that March is closed, I will be getting into the amendments. In the amendments, I clean up those changes in degree and experience, and all of that as it comes through vacation payouts, that sort of thing. So, may I say something on the payroll position, Mr. Spurlock?
You want to do let's do maintenance first.
Okay, certainly.
All right, maintenance, 2, estimated cost per unit, $61,124. Estimated additional totals of $122,249. Go ahead.
Okay. One of the things we face in the accounting department, several of us came here, a couple just before I started, and then me, and a couple after I started, and we were right about 40, 42 years old. We have been here 20, 22 years. We have a lot of people in accounting who, like me, are starting to think about retirement. We are, and this is part of that transitional planning. It takes a long time to get up to speed on our payroll positions. We pay over 5,000 people, and a lot more come and go in that period. And our sheer volume. When we started, we had some 2,000 teachers. Just the sheer volume, we have grown into that volume. As people retire, our replacements won't be able to handle that volume. So that's one of our challenges. It's something we kind of faced on the HR side with the retirement that Dr. Anthony had. So.
Okay, moving on, special ed bus aids, 1.9 unit count, estimated cost per unit, $44,373. Estimated additional totals, $84,308. Athletic trainer, 1 unit, at estimated cost per unit, $62,171. Estimated additional total of $62,171. Computer technician, 2, estimated cost per unit, $70,164. Estimated additional totals of $140,329. 1 month and then a 120-day contract for assistant superintendent budget and finance, 1 unit. Estimated cost per unit, $99,706. Estimated additional totals of $99,706. Staff accountant or budget analyst, 1. Estimated cost of $62,171. Estimated additional total of $62,171. HR recruiter, 1 count, estimated cost per unit, $62,171. Estimated additional totals of $62,171. Dr. Anthony, would you mind speaking on that position?
Well, that's a very needy position. As you know, we go all over the state trying to, be at the job fairs and to gather as many candidates as we can. Unfortunately, many of the universities are putting out students not in the areas that we're needing. Typically we're hiring 24, 25 math teachers a year, and our local university might put out 6, or the next university over might put out 3. So we're all the time trying to look in other places in addition to the university. But another area that we really want to do is work on and be strategic on going in and out of state as well. So some out of state recruitment for specifically hard to fill positions. We know that's coming up. And then someone to help us with the classified recruitment. We always have the challenges filling our cafeteria workers and our maintenance employees and our janitors. So that's another area with the economy like it is, trying to be able to be involved with all of those positions. On top of that, we have the requirement now of every 5 years for fingerprinting and processing, and that on top of our new teachers. So, this past year was our first year, and we processed years 16 through 21 years of experience. And we have 4 in our department, and I'm telling you, it took all 4 of us to try to stay on top of that, on top of all the other duties. So, with a small department, we're hoping that this position can help us to find the positions, recruit them, retain them, and then be able to help with the mandates that we have for fingerprinting on top of that. And there's many other aspects of that job that we would need help with.
I think one of the biggest eye-openers for me, being here at the central office, is how much HR they have a lot on their plate. There's a lot of things that goes through it, obviously through Ms. Page's office and Dr. Anthony's office. And I think they do a great job with the staff that they currently have. And I know it's stretching when you're thinking about the 4th largest school district in the state of Tennessee. Almost 47,000 students will be, soon to be, next year. And, I think that, I agree with you. It's a challenge.
I have a question, if I may, on one of these line items. The athletic trainer. Mm-hmm. Is this the same athletic trainer that was budgeted out here under Rockville High, or is it different?
Yes.
No. We talked about it a lot last year. We'll talk about some this year. The change in the requirement kind of across the nation. We used to be able to get graduate students at MTSU. We will have 1 next year. After that I don't know if it's a young lady or young gentleman, after that one is gone, we will have to add another full-time. So we will have 6 full-time, 1 MTSU grad student, and 4 of our CTE teachers who are paid a $20,000 supplement to do that after school. But this is just to cover the high schools where we have athletic trainers.
Okay, thank you.
We are talking a potential sponsorship agreement. We're not there yet, but this expenditure is coming onto our books. Last year, it started this year. It'll pretty much be on our books this year, this
Thank you.
upcoming year.
All right, the next page. You'll notice there technology software, and this is able to continue the 2-to-1 program with the same budgeted dollars as of 2018-19. So I think that was budgeted in $6 million. Am I correct on that? And we'll be able to carry that out with no additional funding. Transportation, new bus routes, transit, account of 10. Estimated cost per unit, $57,775. Additional cost totals of $577,750. New bus routes, special ed, count of 5. Estimated cost per unit, $66,391. Estimated additional totals of $331,955. Rate changes with contract drivers. Estimated additional totals of $400,608. I'm assuming this is additional.
2.5%.
Right.
If the board goes
Well,
with that.
with the drivers. Right. Debt service, $186,663. Okay, now, this estimate of the total increase for next year's budget on to what this fiscal year budget is would be $27,093,977. Now, this is all based on a multitude of things, including this thing called Tasser-Sieber-Fox Index. You might want to explain that to the new board members.
The BEP formula, one of the steps at the bottom, there's a blend. There's the Sieber/Fox Index out of UT and the TASER, Tennessee Advisory Council on Intergovernmental Relations. And these two economic measurements try to reflect the relative wealth of the counties across the state. Ours is inching up. As that percentage goes up, or that index goes up, your state funding on the BEP drops a little. We don't know what that will be at this point.
I think we've pretty much, it's trended up.
Yeah, that one has been trending up, so state funding percentage trending down. Still an increase,
Right.
but a smaller increase than we would otherwise have, yeah. And we are going to the spring fiscal work conference in
Next week?
early May. That's where we'll get more answers, hopefully, as long as things aren't tied up in the legislature. Some years we've gotten it in June.
If we may, I have a question. I'd like to move back to transportation for a moment. The rate changes with contract drivers, almost $500,000. I'm not sure I understood that, exactly what that is.
Each bus well, typically what we have done, not every year, we typically have given or tried to give the same percentage increase to the bus owner operators, our contractors, that we have to our employees. We haven't all the time, but we've tried to. A few years back, we went a 0.5 percentage point lower on that increase. But at this point, I just built in the 2.5. We hadn't had any discussion to indicate anything else. We also have some, not a lot, we have paid, and we have had to pay a little bit in fuel price adjustment this year. I think that has, right now, the diesel prices are below that level, but they're close. There is some money in the budget should that kick in. if we faced something where it really went high, we would have to amend out of fund balance to cover that. I'm thinking I've got 400,000 to 500,000 in the budget to cover those if we need them. But if the price goes really high, that's a drop in the bucket.
Ms. Johnson and I have been meeting with the bus drivers, and there's a lot of discussion in there about their ability to keep their drivers, retain their drivers.
Yes.
So we may have to look at this 2.5. It may be time we have to increase that a little bit more than what we're showing here. And I think there was a year or two there since 2012 they didn't get anything.
Well, my thought is if they didn't, our employees didn't either. Yeah. We could go back and check on that, but it's been, that may have happened like, I don't remember, my recollection could be wrong. I remember them getting a smaller one, but I don't, now maybe when the price of diesel just really collapsed a few years back, there was not one. But the board has tried to be, you know.
I just know the cost of a new bus is anywhere from $115,000 to $120,000 now, to where it was below $100,000. So they're seeing drastic increases on their service and their replacement of their buses, and then they also being able to retain drivers. They're having a real hard time. So that's just something that I think we need to be prepared to look at.
That is an advantage we have, that we contract ours out, because Murfreesboro City has called us, neighboring county, can you help us get bus drivers? That is one group of employees we have not had to recruit ourselves.
You know, while we're on the subject of increases for employees or contractors or what have you, I just kind of want to put this out for thought for the board too. I think we have some classified positions, and the one that concerns me the most, quite frankly, are our EAs, and especially our SPED EAs with the things that they're required and asked to do. I think we've got some areas in that realm too that we really, really need to look at the pay structure, and I don't know if that's something that necessitates another committee like we did before as far as looking at salary structure and step raises and all of that, or if it's something that just needs to be discussed and voted on in general by the board. But I think that's an area that really, really needs to be looked at. I'm guessing, and I don't know, Dr. Anthony, I really would like you to speak to in specifically that position, because that's the one that's really, really bothering me. EAs for SPED students. I mean, do we have any special criteria requirements for someone to fill that job, and are we having challenges filling them and or retaining them?
I know Kate can talk more about the job description specifically because she's the one that helps us with our recommendations, but we do have that challenge. Oftentimes we do have openings in those areas, and sometimes that racks up our P5 day usage for subs as well. We have some areas that we are always trying to keep filled.
So if we have an EA at a school, that especially a SPED EA, so did you answer, I mean, are there special criteria requirements?
As far as the requirements for an EA position, it's similar. It's similar to what it is for a general education EA. Now, there is an exception to that as far as we do have EAs, just a handful of them that work out of the district office, but they're sent to a variety of schools depending on where the highest need children are as far as behavioral, and they are behavioral EAs, and they're a step higher, and we do provide them with RBT training, which is a behavioral training, registered behavior technician training, but that's a cost that special ed has provided to them.
We're not paying them anything additional.
They are getting those few, and I'm talking 10. Okay. There's a few that get a little bit higher of a pay scale. As far as special education EAs versus a general education EAs, the pay scale is the same, and we do lose those positions to a general ed. They'll go to ESL, or they'll go to be a Title I EA, or something of that nature. So it is definitely a challenge to find good qualified people, and then often when we find those good qualified people, due to pay scale and things of that nature, it's hard to keep them employed for a number of years, even after we invest hours and hours of training into those people. And then it's a constant training cycle for the behavior specialists and for the others working with those staff.
And also in the area, Mr. Lee reminded me of bus special ed EAs as well. You know, we have several subs that are able to help in those times of need, but that's a big area of requirement at all times.
Well, and given all that and the fact that apparently we are investing lots of training dollars, and just from, you know, experience and how much you invest in that employee to turn around and have them leave 6 months later because we're not paying them enough money, it may very well balance itself out if we could adjust those pay scales to pay them what that job really ought to demand, and perhaps reduce our turnover. So I would say that that's an area that I think we definitely need to look at as we move forward with this.
I think we do need to, I don't know how long it's been since we've looked at the pay structure of our classified, but I think we'd all agree, you probably know.
We looked at that and made some changes.
Put in step 2 years ago, wasn't it?
2 or 3 years ago. But we did, yeah.
They weren't real significant, though.
No, it wasn't real significant. One of the things that we need to remember, one of the challenges, because EAs are basically even only 9-month employees. Our hourly rates, I don't think, are that bad. Our benefits are very good, but it's a 9-month, the total compensation. One of the requests that has come forward over the years, and I don't think there's a way to do this and be in compliance with wage and hour laws, because if we ever were on it, we left it, and you basically, it's kind of like you could have been grandfathered. There is not a way in our payroll system, because we get this question all the time, could we allow the EAs, the cafeteria workers, those other 9-month jobs, a 10-month custodian, whatever, could he or she basically sign something, say, please withhold X dollars of my pay and pay it out to me over the summer? Our payroll system won't handle it. And basically, even if I know some systems who still basically treat it as basically a salaried, treat it as, and they've done it long enough, they're kind of grandfathered in, treat it as a salaried position, but basically you still have to pay them as though they are still hourly overtime employees. And even if we could go back to that, I don't know that that would be a viable option.
Well, and I don't know that that really solves the issue or the concern that I'm presenting. And with all due respect, Mr. Sandvig, I don't think I agree that the hourly rates for those EAs are where they need to be.
Well, I think if we had someone in a 12-month position at that rate, we would not see the turnover that we see. I think that is a big part of the problem. But no, my daughter has worked as one. I agree the rates are not good, and especially in the economy in the mid-state area doing as well as it is. Yeah, but in the general purpose school budget, we have $7 million next year's budget for SPED EAs. And then in IDEA, the federal special ed project, I don't know. Any idea?
In my head, but there are actually very few classified.
There are always more than I think there are, though. Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as the ratio, it's much heavier.
Yes, it's much heavier. Yeah.
I could get those numbers if you need me to, but
we'd probably be. Oh, I can pull the numbers. I just don't have it off my head. But
So it sounds like we're keeping a pool of special ed EAs here, in other words, to go out or to be dispatched. Is that right?
Well.
Oh, for the buses, okay.
No,
The buses
I think she's
and the
talking about
SPED
the behavioral EAs. There are some behavioral EAs that are system-wide that can go from school. They are in schools.
Like floaters, but they're working all the time.
They go to certain children, and the goal is always to fade them away as the children's behaviors get better. So they're working with the school staff, they're higher level of training, and then they fade away from that child and go to the next.
Are there ever instances where we're having to use subs to fill those positions? And if so, are we ever put in a position like we are sometimes with teachers, that we have positions that in that area that are left unfilled?
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
I rest my case. Okay, thanks.
One of the other things that, when I looked at we participated in the pilot per school expenditure for last year, and I've submitted our data to the State Department of Ed for the year before last, and I've submitted last year's data. This year's data the year we're in right now, will be done next year. And when I look at by school, one of the things which I've kind of been saying, and again, looking at the total compensation, we have EAs for whom our benefit cost is well over 100% of their salaries. So when you see the cost that I'm showing here, the salary are, and not a lot, but those who have family medical coverage, we're paying 10.66% retirement.
Can afford it.
Plus FICA. Yeah, we are running. It was really. I would pull like federal projects for this school, and my benefit cost would be well over 100. It was strange to see. Yeah.
Well, and I'm always going to be a proponent, obviously, of keeping a tight rein on our budget, but when it comes to taking care of our employees, and especially in key positions like that, I think we're probably, if we really dove into the numbers and we look at what we're spending with all the turnover and the unnecessary recruiting because of that turnover, what we're spending in HR, what we're spending in that lost training time, I would venture to say that it would add up to significant dollars that would allow us to do better for these folks.
Would y'all like us to bring something to the next budget meeting?
For the classified EA?
Or the SPED EAs, that group? Would you like us to, are there some ideas that y'all would like to look at?
Obviously, I would, but I'd be anxious to hear if other board members want to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see how we compare to other counties our size and see what we can do to help in that area. Another one that jumps off at me is the office staff. If we look at the school office staff versus the office clerk at central office, there's about a $11,000 difference in pay there, or $9,000, excuse me. But I don't understand that, so.
Just historically, the central office positions have slowly moved to be level 4s in most instances. And the school positions are level 3s. And the school positions tend to be 10, 11 months.
As far as the workload, I don't see where the difference would be there. Why would we classify one as a 3 and one a 4?
Well, my view, and I'm giving the accounting payroll view, is our expectations in my department are higher than I think some of the expectations. I'm not disparaging them, but some of the clerical staff that we have brought in from the schools, they deal with a lot of interruptions, a lot of dealing with parents, a lot of issues like that. But when it comes down to that level of clerical ability, I've had some come in I have had some who've done fine, but I've had some who've struggled. So, just historically, that's the direction we have moved. That is something that we could look at if y'all want us to look at.
Well, and I would certainly think that in order to make sure that we're protecting ourselves, that if we're going to keep those separated as different classifications, that we would be able to show that through the actual job description.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we can.
Okay.
I think we can. Yeah.
But I agree with Mr. Young. I think it needs to be looked at, but yeah, I want to make sure that we're...
I think as we move the principals, if we're able to move them to 240-day contracts, part of it might be increasing the days as we look at that. That, with 49 schools, that will be expensive. But those are things that we can look at.
You would have at least, I mean, it would only be one personnel for each school, so you're talking about 49 extra.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you look at, a 12-month, I mean, I would say
We could look at that,
12-month?
yeah.
Just curious if the TSBA would have some salary information like that. Might be another resource.
Okay, anything else? Well, I've got one thing. I gave y'all a thing on director of school salaries, and we need to start looking ahead at this. According to Mr. Bennett, we were lucky that we had some good people from our system apply for that job. We didn't get people from anywhere else to apply, even Tennessee, because, and you can look at the average salaries and probably see why. But I talked to Mr. Sandbig about how we could go about adjusting this, maybe over, instead of doing it all in 1 year, over 2, 3 years, and what it would do to our budget. So, anybody's got any comments? I'd like to hear them.
Well, I'll make one comment. We've absolutely, in my judgment, got to address this. Now, when we do it, I would suggest soon. And I would also say that it, not that you're suggesting this, but it applies to more than just the director of schools. I think you'd agree with that. Some awful talented people sitting to my right here, and in front of me too, I might add. And we have got to be competitive. We just have got to be. If I could, Mr. Chairman, I just want to just add this one thing on something we covered earlier, and that is the bus situation that Mr. Young was talking about earlier. And I haven't been to the bus meeting, and he has, I think, Ms. Johnson, and that's wonderful. But when we signed the latest contract, Mr. Snell recommended 2%, I believe. I chaired the committee, but that doesn't matter. That's what and we went through the contract, and we took out all the language that didn't apply anymore because it was an old contract, some state things that, we revised the language. But the leadership of the bus drivers that came to the meeting and negotiated for them were delighted with 2% and what Mr. Snell had to say at that time. And so that's what we ended up, though, with 2.5%. And we wanted it to be more, obviously, if possible, and it would get, but at that time we were considering, no, this is 2 years ago, we were considering 3% for teachers, but they ended up 2.5%, I believe, and that's what we're considering here. But anyway, that contract was a 4-year contract, and I believe, I don't remember exactly the date and so forth, but I was chairman, and it wasn't my second year, so it's got to be at least 2 years old. It's a 4-year contract. So this would be a good time, Mr. Young, I would think, to go ahead and look at that for the future, and the new contract time is coming up. I just want to throw that out there.
But could you, on our next budget, give us what you think would work as far as working on the director of schools pay over the next, whatever works for the, I'd hate to come up in several years and have to say, we need a $60,000 raise, then the county commission would not be happy with us. They're not anyway some days. kind of maybe come up with some kind of way of adjusting it, whatever would suit our budget the best.
I just had a chance to look at the thing just a minute ago, and am I right? I'm not going to pull it back out of here, but it does not address any system larger than 25,000 students. Is that correct? Right. Well, it needs to. I have no idea what the Nashville-Davidson County salary is, or any others for that matter, but I know it's over 200,000. I know that. I think it's over 220,000. Does anybody know? I don't really know, but it's
You got a couple of outliers there. Metro Davidson County is one of them,
right,
and Williams County is another one.
Williams County's 285,000.
And they have fewer students than we do they not? Williamson County.
Not by much.
They're not much. Catching up, though.
How much?
Quickly.
They're
How long have
hiring
those
Davidson,
directors
right?
been in their role?
I don't think they are. No, I think Davidson's is maybe at higher.
Higher in terms of number of students, or higher in terms of?
Higher for the director's school.
Yes, oh yes, I'm certain it is, but they have, right, they've got twice as many students as we do, approximately. But I'd like to see those figures too, of the 4 or 5 highest counties or highest systems in the state. The 25,000 is fine when we were short there. And maybe we're talking about this more than we should, and I probably am. So I'm going to shut up, but just say this one thing. He mentioned the figure of $60,000. All right, now okay, we're already short that much right now today, approximately close to that figure right now. And he was talking about the future, and the county commission wouldn't be happy with us, which worries me for maybe 30 seconds. That bothers me, because this is something that we've absolutely got to do for our school system. I said I'd shut up, and I will.
Mr. Sandvik, if you're going to bring those numbers back to the table, I'd also like for you to be able to show how long those directors have been in their positions as well, so length of experience in correspondence or in correlation to those salaries.
Anything else? Next meeting, Ms. Michaels? Next Monday. I had something I wanted to do next Monday.
That's another budget meeting, correct? Monday nights
No.
is another special call
It
budget
is?
meeting. And then Tuesday and Thursday, work session and board.
Okay.
All right.
Tuesday and Wednesday, 9th and 10th. Okay. Okay.
Do we know, or do we have a handle yet on when we'll be getting or be able to access the agenda for next week's board meeting? In the morning. Tomorrow? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Nothing else. We're adjourned.